and I get comments too. Like the one I remember the most is someone said, you know, if it took you, this was several months ago, so it was something like, if it took you 48 weeks to lose 30 pounds, you've been wasting your money on GLP-1s.
I
Um,
saw that.
and I just was like,
Hello, 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 and welcome. Well, let's be honest. If you're over 50 and you're on a GLP-1, you probably have asked yourself at some point, why is this not working the way I thought it would? The scale is going down, your body even feels different, but nobody really explains what's actually happening. So today we're having a real conversation. I'm sitting down with Dr. Bobbi, who has been living this journey, sharing it openly and helping women 50 plus understand what's really going on with their bodies on a GLP-1. And listen, some of what she's about to say, most people are not talking about. So we're going to talk about it today. So if you're on this journey or you're thinking about taking a GLP-1, this conversation is for you. So welcome, Dr. Bobbi. I'm so
thank
excited to have
you.
you.
Thank you
How
so
are
much
you?
for having me on your channel. I've
You
been
are.
watching your channel since the very beginning of my GLP-1 days.
Thank you. I know. I appreciate that. And I'm so excited you're here because we have a lot of things in common.
Yeah.
And one of those things is being a lady of a certain age, over 50. And another one of those things is struggling to lose weight when you were for me, it was perimenopause into menopause. And for you, it was those menopause years. So
Yeah.
we kind of want to dive into that and talk about how the GLP-1 fits into that. So before we get started, just going into the GLP-1, give us a little background on you and some struggles you've had that led you up to deciding to take the GLP-1 and just your whole weight loss journey.
Sure. Yeah. Um, I started a GLP-1 about 15 months ago after thinking, I don't need it. I can lose this weight on my own because my whole life I'd kind of been able to manage my weight on my own. I mean, it wasn't easy, but I would like eat right and exercise and maintain my weight. And something changed after menopause. Well, actually, perimenopause, things slowed down and it was a little harder to lose weight. So I was a little heavier than I'd ever been, but I was like, whatever, I'm getting older, whatever. And it didn't really bother me. But then after menopause, like nothing would allow me to lose weight. Like I could eat right and exercise, and I felt like my doctors didn't believe me because I was like, they were telling me, your blood pressure is going up, your A1C is going up, you need to lose weight. And I'm like, I'm trying, I'm doing all the things I've done my whole life that worked, and nothing was working. And I felt like maybe I'm not trying hard enough. And eventually, about 15 months ago, I knew that it couldn't be just me not working hard enough because I did a solid month of Weight Watchers, which had always worked for me before. And I just like followed it so closely and I didn't lose any weight. And I was like,
Wow.
okay, I give up. So after a month of thinking like I'm really gonna try my hardest and I didn't lose any weight, I finally thought, well, let me give GLP-1s a try because I'd had some people in my family who'd had success with them and they were like, well, you should um, try a GLP-1. I was like, I don't need that because I've never needed it before. Like I don't like I have people in my family who really struggle with obesity their whole life. And I was like, that's not me. But after menopause, it was because I found myself for the first time in my life obese. And no matter what I did, like my weight just kept going up. So, anyway, long story short, I started a GLP-1 and started losing weight. And it wasn't super fast, but at least it was in the right direction.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, what did you start taking? So where did you get the GLP-1? You heard about it from family. Did you talk to your doctor?
Yeah.
Did you go to a telehealth company? What happened?
Because I was doing Weight Watchers at the time and they had recently started doing medication. I didn't talk to my doctor about it. I just started getting it through the telehealth Weight Watchers clinic.
Okay.
And and I didn't really know that much about it, even though I have people in my life I could have asked. I didn't do a lot of research. I guess I thought like, well, there's a couple different medications, but they're probably all the same.
Hmm.
So like whatever the Weight Watcher clinic had, I took, and it was compounded semaglutide, and it worked. And that's the generic for Wegovy and Ozempic, is it? Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
Ozempic and
the
Wegovy.
ingredient for
Yeah,
Ozempic
semaglutide
and
is the medication that, yeah.
Wegovy. Okay, all right, very good. So you said that worked for you.
It worked for me, but it gave me very bad constipation. So the semaglutide was working and I got on top of the side effects, but I ended up switching after a few months to branded Zepbound, not because it wasn't working, but because I was worried that compounded medication would go away. And Weight Watchers had stopped carrying compounded semaglutide.
Really?
I think it was a point where there were a lot of lawsuits going on where the branded medication was suing pharmacies and stuff. And I think maybe Weight Watchers was afraid of being sued. I don't know. But I got a notice that they were going to switch to that pill. Is it called
Ribelsis?
Retafrutide? The old one?
Ribelsis?
Is that what it is? I
Yes.
don't know. They were going to switch me to something that was like really old school and that's even less effective. And by then I'd kind of learned that maybe tirzepatide, like it tended to have better effects and less side effects. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go talk to my actual primary care doctor about getting on Zepbound. And I already knew my insurance didn't cover it, but I talked to my doctor and she gave me a little bit of stink eye for going on compounded medication because I guess it's not as FDA regulated or whatever. Like she wouldn't have prescribed it. So, but she, prescribed me Zepbound, and I've been on that ever since. So I think it's been like 49 or 50 weeks or something on Zepbound.
Wow. So she prescribed the Zepbound.
Yeah, and she
And
still
you got on
does.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
And did
so
you get it from, because I thought didn't you get your Zepbound direct from Eli Lilly or no?
I do, yeah. She
Okay.
calls the prescription in to the Lilly Direct,
Okay.
and then
Okay.
Lilly Direct sends me an email and I pay for it, and then they mail it to me in a box with some like a freezer pack box.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Very good. All right. So you get the Zepbound and you take your first injection. Tell us about that experience. First of all, were you nervous to take it?
I was kind of nervous to take my first ever shot when it was semaglutide way at the beginning because I'd never given myself a shot before. And so it seemed like a really big deal. And then after the first one, I was like, oh, that's not a big deal at all.
Okay.
I was
Okay. All
like,
right.
oh my goodness, I just stressed out about giving myself a shot and then it's so easy. It was fine. And I didn't have constipation on it, which was such a relief. I just had like the tiniest bit of nausea the first time I took it, and then the first time that I went up in dose,
And that's it.
and that's it. Oh, and the
Wow.
last time I went up to 10 about a month ago, and the night, like 24 hours later, I was really tired. Like I went to bed crazy early, and then I was fine. So, yeah.
Wow.
So some
Jeez, Louise.
short-lived side effects.
Okay, very good. And so you haven't had any other side effects in all that time, just the
No, no. Mm-mm. I mean, if I have, they're so little that I didn't notice them or don't remember them.
okay,
Yeah,
well
I
that's
feel like,
good.
yeah, it has the like intended effects. Like it definitely decreases my appetite and quiets the food noise.
And
Um,
what dosages were you injecting? What dose did you stay at and how did you decide to titrate up?
yeah. With the Zepbound, I had to start back at the lowest dose, even though I'd been taking semaglutide, because when you switch type of medication, you have to start at the bottom of the ladder. So I started at 2.5 of Zepbound and oh, sorry, I touched my microphone.
No, you're good.
Um, and then after a month, I went up and because I noticed I'd been at the second dose from the bottom on semaglutide. And so when I went up to, so when I switched to Zepbound, I could tell at the lowest dose. I was like, it works, but it's not working as well as the bumped up dose of semaglutide. So after a month, I bumped up to 5, and that worked great. I was on it for like 5 months, and then I bumped up to 7.5, and that worked great for another like 4 months, and then I just bumped up to 10.
Oh, wow. You
Yeah,
just bumped up to 10.
yeah.
Okay. All
So
right. So
I'm at
you've
10
been
now.
going up, not the every 4 week protocol. You just,
Right.
yeah.
No, I've waited until it's just stopped working as well. And the way I can tell, there's two things I've noticed every time I've gone up. One is food noise. Like I'll start thinking about food even though I'm not hungry. I was
Yes.
like, I used to think that was normal. That was just my life for like 50 some odd years. And the other thing is I can eat a meal and not feel full afterwards, which was also my life before GLP-1. I don't think I have like satiety without GLP-1s. Like I can just eat.
Really?
Yeah, I kind of managed my eating my whole life by just stopping when I knew I'd had enough, even though I could have kept eating and eating and eating. I was like,
But
well,
you
I
were
just,
able to stop yourself.
yeah, it was kind of like, well, I know I've eaten enough to be a meal, so I should stop now. But it didn't come naturally. I thought that was natural. I thought that was the way everyone did it. And then on a GLP-1, I was like, oh, you stop because you want to, because you're satisfied. Like it was
Right.
this weird aha moment. And I realized how screwed up my like satiety hormones are or something, because my whole life I was always like I could eat it I could eat at any moment.
Yes.
Yeah.
And did you have the food noise that was out of control?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I have a memory when I was young of my dad. It was like right after dinner, so I shouldn't have been hungry. And I went back and I had some seconds, and then I asked if I could have some ice cream, and he was like, "Are you going through a growth spurt? What is happening?" And I was just kind of thinking like, "What's the big deal? Like I just want food. Like I want food and I want it all the time." So,
Yes, I can relate to that too.
yeah.
So what's something about the GLP-1 after 50 that you feel like women are not being told up front? Do you feel like it's things that we probably should have known, or do you wish somebody had set you down and said, your body's going to react this way when you get a certain age? Did you expect that? Did you know that?
I feel like everything that's happened after menopause that's a known thing that happens after menopause, no one ever told me about it until after it happened. And then some doctor would be like, "Oh yeah, that happens all the time after menopause." And I'm like, "No one ever told me."
I know, I know, I know.
So the same with, I think with GLP-1, I, k- I kind of expected that since I noticed right away that it was helping me to lose weight when nothing else could, I presumed that I'd be able to lose weight at the same pace that I always lost weight, which in my adult life, there had been times where I needed to lose weight. Never that much. It was more like because I had all that food noise my whole life, but I sort of just managed it by make like artificially cutting off my eating. I think I must have been in like a small calorie surplus because about once a year I'd be like, oh, my pants are getting tight. And so I would like eat right and exercise and get right back down and then stop the quote unquote diet and then just live my life. And about a year later, it'd be like, oh, my pants are getting tight. And it was like that endless cycle. So, so I thought that I would just be restored to that. And that cycle I knew very well. And it was about losing about a pound a week is what I would lose. So it wasn't anything super dramatic, but it was very predictable. It's like when I eat right and exercise, I can lose about a pound a week. And so I thought that would happen. And it hasn't. It's been steady, but it's been, I, I, I track my stats a lot. So I know it's 2/3 of a pound a week.
I heard you say the 2/3. I'm like,
Yep.
2/3. Well, it's more than 0.5, but less than one.
It's more than point 0.5, and point 0.5
It's a
is
normal.
normal. Yeah. So
So,
my weight loss is normal, but it feels slow.
slow. And I was having this conversation with someone, and point 0.5 to 2 is considered for the like a week, right? That's
Yeah,
considered a healthy weight loss. When you hear people losing 3, 4, or 5 pounds in a week, we're like, what is going on, right?
right,
So that is normal. So that 2 is on the higher end. But when you are having point 0.5 to 2 or point 0.5 to 5 for the whole entire month, that's when I think to say it's slower, it's not really slow technically, right? Because
right.
2 pounds, if you can lose 2 pounds in a month and still be in that normal range.
Yeah.
But when you're actually experiencing it, it sounds like it's super slow.
That,
And for somebody 200 pounds and over, it's like, geez, oh man, you would think it would move faster. But I guess even those different sizes, it doesn't matter. You're in the normal range.
yeah, yeah. But it is frustrating. I feel like so much of my YouTube channel is me talking about coming to terms with the fact that this is just the pace that my body is going to lose weight. I feel like there's maybe there's not nothing I could do, but there are things like I'm not going to purposefully really undereat so that I'm not getting the nutrition that I need. Um,
So when
in
you say under eat, what do you mean by that?
Well, I'm gonna eat in a calorie deficit because you have to lose weight. But by under eat, like when people go on crash diets and they eat like 800 or 900 calories a day, or
Yeah.
they just eat a little lettuce or whatever. It's like I'm not doing anything crazy like that. I want to eat 3 meals a day. I want to get nutrition. So so
I think that's gonna also cause that normal range, right? Because
right,
you're getting the calories in and you're
yeah,
not starving your body, you're getting those nutrients in. So that I
yeah,
think that has to be said because I do see people who have said they've lost so fast. They weren't really tracking and they could have been eating 1,000 or even sometimes less than 1,000, and that's why they lost so fast.
yeah,
Not everyone, but I've just seen that out there where people say, "Oh, I didn't eat all day. I
right,
could barely eat. I just drink a protein shake." That's
yeah,
going to produce some fast weight loss, but that's
yeah,
not nutritious.
right. Yeah, and there's things like that can really affect your bone density and things that um, matter a lot more to me than what I weigh. Like my bone health matters way more to me than whatever the scale says. And
Because you're
so,
thinking about longevity and how when you
yeah,
get older, you want to be able to maneuver and you
yeah,
want to be able to be mobile, right?
yeah. I mean, I'll be 58 this year. So, like,
Yay!
I'm thinking about what kind of party I want to have when I turn 60.
Well, you look great. Do you feel great?
I feel so good. Yeah, and all
And
the
that
the
matters.
inflammation too, we haven't even talked about, but like the way that GLP-1s help with inflammation, I
Yes.
feel so great I can exercise and not be in pain, which after menopause, my joints were not happy. Um, yeah.
I need that. Well, I think that's
So,
another thing we have in common is I've seen you say you're not a fan of moving like you would if you could just sit down and relax, you would take that, but you have to. And
yeah.
that's where I'm at. I don't love it. I don't want to, but I know I have to. And so
Yeah.
I'm trying to, just like you're trying to change that mindset of the slow and trying to normalize, because really, technically, I call myself the slow and steady queen, but really it is normal when you think
Yeah.
about
It's
weight loss,
normal and
right?
steady.
Right, it's normal and steady, not slow and steady.
Right.
So I love that. And I'm also trying to change that dialogue in my head that I don't like to work out and say I'm a person who moves. Because saying I love to work out, I don't know, that's a stretch. But saying I'm a person who moves, I'm a
Yeah,
person who's up and moving around,
I love
to
that.
me, that's helpful because it's like, okay, I need to get up and move. I need to
Yeah.
get up and move around. And I think you have to start where you are. We always say that, but that's so true. For
Yeah.
you, it could be your start could be 10 minutes on the treadmill, and my start could be 20 minutes on the treadmill. We're both moving, and
Yeah.
eventually we'll both get to a different level of where we want to be. So
Yeah.
I love that. Well, let's talk about what we're eating because I think this GLP-1, you've had produced some great videos that have talked
Oh,
about,
thanks.
what you eat in a day. So let's talk
Yeah.
about that. And
Okay.
I want to know for you, when you said you were in a calorie deficit, how many
Yeah.
calories is that?
Yeah. So I've actually worked with a dietitian to figure it out because we get so many messages. And when I first started a GLP-1, I was like, well, I'm not petite. I'm 5'9" and I do exercise even though I never really want to. So I was like, I know I need some calories just to exist, right? To not
And you're
perish.
5'9". Let's say you're 5'9", so you're a tall lady.
Yeah, yeah. So I know that because there are, you know, I have a friend who she's 5'1". We have very different calorie needs just to like break even on our calories. Like she just doesn't need the same amount of energy because she's smaller than I am. So anyway, I started out thinking, well, I should probably eat like 1,500 calories a day. And I thought I was being really generous and thinking about like my, that I'm tall and everything. But I started to wonder if I knew what I was talking about. So I did start seeing a dietitian, and that was so helpful because she did the math. She asked me a whole bunch of questions. She did the math, and it turns out to lose weight, to have like a steady calorie deficit, I should eat 1,700 calories a day.
17.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I
I was
believe it
like,
because mine is 18.
yeah, I believe it now. But at the time, this was last year, I that just sounds like a lot. But and when I told her, well, I've been shooting for 15, she was like, make 15 like the absolute minimum. Like if you just can't bring yourself to eat because of the medication or something,
Right, yeah.
just don't go below that. But please shoot for 1,700. You'll get more, um, vitamins and minerals and protein and everything. So I
Yeah.
shoot for 17. I don't always make it because the appetite suppression is a real factor.
Yeah. That's
And
the hard part. I
yeah,
agree.
but I shoot for 17, and that is about, given like my activity level, my dietitian estimates that that's the lose a pound a week rate
Okay.
of calorie intake for me is 1,700. And then when I was like, yeah, and I'm losing 2/3 a pound, and she was like, yeah, like the math doesn't always math exactly right, and just menopause and I don't know what, but it's close enough.
Close enough. Well, and it's working because you're still coming down, right?
I
And
am,
you feel
yeah,
great. You know,
yeah.
your hair looks good. I
Oh,
always look at
thanks.
people's hair like, what is your hair doing?
I didn't ever lose hair. I was glad about
Never
that.
lost hair.
I didn't. Not that I noticed.
Okay. All right. Well, you would notice, I think, like if you were in the shower or something like that, you probably
Yeah,
would notice you didn't have hair shedding or anything.
not more than normal.
Yeah.
And I was really paying attention because, hair falls out normally. So anytime I saw hair in my hairbrush, I was scrutinizing it. Like, is that more than usual? Is it the same as usual? And I could never tell, so I figured I wasn't losing hair. Or when I put my hair in a ponytail, the size of the ponytail,
Yes.
I was thinking like, is it thicker? Is it thinner than usual? And I couldn't tell. So I was like, it must not be because I think I would know.
Notice it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's good. That's a sign that you are getting your nutrients in. Now, I
that's what I
also
hope.
wanted to ask you about the protein. How much protein are you
Yeah.
getting in? Because I know on your channel you talk about focusing on protein and fiber,
Yeah.
which I love the combo.
Yeah. I just try to get 100 or more grams of protein a day. And probably I could do great on more than that. But I just decided to, I don't know, make it easy on myself and say at least 100
At least
is
100. I
fine.
like that.
It's not like deficient or anything. And,
Yeah,
and that way, if I hit 30 or so for my 3 meals, I'm getting pretty close. And if I have a little snack, then it's fine. Yeah.
I love that. Well, let's talk about what you're actually eating. So I want to play a little game with you called This or That. And if
Okay.
you had to choose between the two of these, which one would you choose? And
Okay.
if
Oh,
you eat
fun.
them both, you could tell us, but if you just had your choice.
Okay.
So protein shake or protein bar?
For breakfast, protein shake. For snack, protein bar.
Okay, all right. Yogurt or cottage cheese?
Yogurt.
Yogurt. Okay, good. I'm not a cottage cheese fan, but people love it.
Yeah.
Spinach or broccoli?
Spinach. I love
Spinach.
them both, actually. But if I had to choose, I like spinach a lot.
So do I. What about rice or potatoes?
Ooh, that's so hard. Maybe potato. Ooh, I can't choose. I love them both.
Gotta choose. I'm
If I
serving you
had to
up something
choose
tonight.
Potatoes.
Potatoes.
They're more
Okay.
versatile.
Yes, so true. So
Yeah.
true. I love a good potato.
Oh, yes.
Chicken or steak?
Chicken,
Chicken. Yummy. Salmon or tuna?
salmon,
Salmon. Oatmeal or cereal?
oatmeal. I love
Oatmeal.
oatmeal.
I love a good oatmeal
I
too.
just never get tired of it.
Yeah, and I like this oatmeal. It's it's kind of quick oats, I would say, because you can, cook it quickly, but it's from Trader Joe's and it has flax seeds in it and it's just very, very good. I love
Sounds
that. Do you
good.
have a brand of oatmeal that you just love?
I just buy old-fashioned oats.
Okay.
Um,
And cook
Usually the
those.
generic version of the Quaker because they're cheaper and I feel like it's the exact same thing. Um, and yeah, just the old-fashioned. They take a little longer to cook
Cook,
than the
yeah.
quick oats, but I like the texture better.
Mm.
They're a
Do you
little,
add anything to it? Fruit, nuts?
yeah, I add a lot to it.
Okay, okay.
It changes up. Like lately, it would be I just cook it in water, and then I will add. I'll defrost some frozen blueberries in it, and I'll add some peanut butter or some
Ooh,
PB2 powder if I'm thinking like I kind of do this math in my head. Like if I know, oh, we're going out to dinner tonight, I'm probably going to have like a pretty high calorie dinner. I'll use PB2 powder. But if I know I'm just, eating at home and eating something normal, then I can eat peanut butter, but it's like the fat in it is pretty calorie dense. So
yeah.
I'm doing a little bit of math in my head. But yeah, peanut butter and fruit and cinnamon and
Oh, I
nuts.
love that.
Yeah, I add a
Yeah.
lot of things to my oatmeal.
Yes, that sounds good. I like to
Yeah.
add things to mine
You
too.
do? Yeah.
Strawberries is my favorite, and then I
Oh.
like to add walnuts or pecans. I call them pecans
Mm-hmm.
to it too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Almonds is another one. I crunch it up, put it in a bag
Yeah.
and I crunch.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can buy them in pieces, but it's more expensive. If you do it yourself, you're paying for convenience.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
sometimes, I'll just take my little snack pack and crush it and just put it in there.
Yeah.
So it's yummy. All
Yeah.
right, so let me ask you, if you had to decide between weight training or cardio, which one would you choose?
I would choose weight training.
Weight training. Okay, so
Yeah.
that leads us into your exercise. Tell us what you're doing
Yeah.
with that weight training.
With weight training, my aim is to weight train my upper body twice a week and my lower body twice a week. Um, that's what I aspire to do. If I do upper once and lower once, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to get stronger, but I'm not going to get weaker.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't do that every week. But
Yeah.
sometimes life happens. But a lot of times I can do both twice a week, and that's what I really like to do. Yeah.
Now, do you follow a particular program?
I haven't been. I did see a personal trainer last month for the first time, and that's been good and it kind of shook things up. Before that, I was doing a pretty generic, like hitting the major muscle groups weight training at my gym and kind of combining machines with free weights and just hitting the major muscle groups. Like
Yeah.
I just didn't overthink it. I was like, I just need something I can do and hit my upper and lower body in an hour or one of them in 30 or 40 minutes. So,
Okay. All
yeah.
right. That sounds like what's going to help preserve that muscle. And you're not doing a
Yeah.
whole, like you're not, how they call the gym bros where they're, doing these hard, strenuous exercises. But as long as you're challenging those muscles and it's repetitive, I think that's great.
Yeah, it's pretty surprising how like I don't try to see like how heavy can I lift or whatever, but just when I lift so that it's heavy enough that I can tell that I'm working, it got a lot heavier over the course of several months. I was like, this stuff is working. I felt really strong. I
Real strong.
realized that like then I have a son-in-law who likes to lift weights And so it's so funny when we talk to him because I'm so excited. I'm like, I did 100 and something on the leg press. And he's so nice. And he's like, that's great. And I'm like, what do you do on the leg press? He's like, 350, you know.
Oh my goodness. Jeez Louise.
But he's a young man and, you know.
Yeah. And not for nothing, you don't hear a lot of women, at least I don't hear a lot of women over 50, exercising. Now, if you're looking for it on YouTube, of course, you're going to see it, right? You type in and you'll see
Yeah.
whatever you want to see. But just in my everyday, day to day, do you see women exercising and specifically weight training? A lot of my friends are talking about cardio still.
Yeah. Um, I think more and more. I feel like it's getting more common, and I think the word is getting out about how important it is for maintaining muscle and for bone strength. I think there've been some I don't know if they're bestsellers exactly, but I feel like there've been some doctors, some female doctors who treat women's health issues who have become pretty popular. And so it's becoming a little more mainstream or understood in the mainstream that
Yeah,
strength training is really important for women. I mean, for men too, as we age, but for
right.
women, in ways that, yeah, like didn't get talked about as much before.
Yeah.
So I think
I agree. I think it's a
maybe,
little bit
yeah, I
a
hope
little bit
so.
more, but not as much as I would like to see it. Like I said,
Yeah,
people who I talk to and they're just still into the cardio and
yeah,
not so much even going to the gym and they have classes, those classes, those cardio classes are packed. The strength training ones not so much.
yeah. Or the strength training classes, people being there with the tiniest little weights, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I
Get
don't
some
know.
heavier weights. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think if you start there, that's great. You just have to
Well,
remember
yeah,
that's one of my struggles too, is like challenging myself. I think that's why the trainers are never really going to have to worry about being out of work because you're always going to need that extra push. Some of
yeah,
us, you know what I mean, for the
yeah,
support of it all. So,
yeah,
well, I wanted to ask you, so, let's go back to the idea of women and like me seeing, and I don't know if you saw that, but I saw when I started my GLP-1, I saw on the news like all these women losing and men, you see them one day and they were chunky and thick and bigger, and then you see them the next day and they were like, some of them look emaciated almost like they like
yeah,
lost so fast. So I thought that it was going to just be fast and consistent and I was shocked that it wasn't. It wasn't as fast. It just kind of was like, just plugging along. And I kind of want to, talk about that idea of the reality of losing and not losing fast. And how did you
yeah.
get over that mindset? Like, was that a mindset shift for you to get past that? Or did you just say, when did that become a reality for you that I'm just not gonna lose fast, even taking
Um,
GLP-1?
I feel like there's an angel and a devil on each shoulder because for a long time, since early in my GLP-1 journey, there was a little angel saying, slow and steady is great. You're doing great. It doesn't matter. You're so healthy. But there was that devil kind of like, why is this taking so long? Doesn't take other people this long.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I still hear that little devil sometimes. So when did I come to terms with it? I don't know. I'll let you know when it happens,
You don't
totally.
know if you're, yeah,
But mostly I feel really like solid with being happy that I could lose weight at all, even if it was 2/3 a pound a week. Like before that, I couldn't lose weight at all. So yeah.
yeah, that's so true. That's a
And
great way to think about it.
and showing like the picture, I know exactly what you're talking about with the pictures of people who look kind of emaciated and just a couple months before, they looked, I don't know how many pounds heavier. And I don't know if this is true, but I've got to think that either that's such a small minority of people who are some kind of crazy super responders, or those are people who are not eating, who are leaning into the lack of hunger and not eating, or
Yeah.
maybe some of both. I don't know. But I'm not a super responder, and I have tried so hard not to lean into not eating because it could be really easy.
Oh,
And there
for
have been
sure.
days. There was a day I was traveling, like flying, and then a train, and then a cab, and I got to my hotel and it was 4 in the afternoon. And I was like, I haven't eaten a thing all day, and I wasn't hungry, but I was very
Mhm.
cranky.
You were
That's
hangry.
that's how I knew I was hangry. That's how I knew I was hungry. I didn't feel hungry, but I was so cranky, and I was like, oh, my blood sugar's low. But it wasn't hard to not eat because of the medication. So it would be really easy to not eat. And I don't think that's healthy. And I should say I'm not a medical doctor and you know, I'm not giving medical advice or anything, but I mean, how big of a stretch is it to say not eating isn't a good idea? Like
Right,
that's yeah.
right, right. And I think though that's what the concern was also these medications leading to disordered eating and
Yeah,
people not, treating the medication like it was just, something with you to excuse you from eating. And that's really not what it's for. It
right.
really is a supplement to help you. And they talk about the lifestyle changes. I wish there was more, and I guess the guidance is supposed to come from your doctor. And I know Eli Lilly puts a pamphlet out and said, you need lifestyle changes, but I feel like people need something more detailed, like to follow. Like, and not that it could be a one size fits all, but just a little bit more guidance. And even the doctors could be giving out more guidance, more protein, you need to hear like, well, what is the protein? Like I had to actually ask my doctor, what is that number? Because I didn't get a number. I had to ask for specifics. And I
Yeah,
think it should come with that, some sort of recommendation and follow up with like talk to your doctor.
right.
So, what they have is the start, but it's not, I feel like it's not enough. You
Yeah,
could almost do more. So, and I think
yeah.
eventually down the road that will come out, maybe as the doctors learn how to, work with the patients and, or refer you to a dietitian, but again, I asked to see the dietitian. My doctor didn't say you need to see a dietitian.
I was
So,
just thinking that a lot of times it's when you seek things out yourself, like a
yeah,
dietitian, or even if it's not a professional, if it's like I'm going to seek out YouTube videos on
right.
exercising or whatever it is, like you have to seek it out. If you just go to the doctor and get prescribed this medication, yeah, like none of that information comes along with it of
Yeah.
what the healthy lifestyle changes are. Yeah.
Well, that's why I think it's great that, channels like yours and mine, where we're talking about these, the
Yeah.
importance of eating and lifestyle changes and
Yeah.
that and I don't know if sacrifice is the best word, but it's at the, detriment of the fact that we're not losing fast, but it's more of like a healthy, normal weight
Yeah,
loss, right?
it
If
is.
that's the thing. And I
Yeah.
think we want to normalize that and it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. And maybe I'll change instead of calling myself the slow and steady queen, I'll call myself the normal and steady queen.
Yeah.
That is too funny. Okay, so yeah, and I think, anybody watching this video, just to know that it's okay to lose 2 to 5 pounds a month. It really is. It's normal. It's okay. And if you're losing, that, 8, because I guess like if you lose two, that 8 is that top normal,
Right.
right? And then after 8 pounds, over 8 pounds a month, you're considered, losing really fast. Like people lose
Fast.
10, 12, 14.
Yeah.
And that's okay too if that's what you're doing and you're doing it in a healthy way. But I would say most people, maybe you're not hearing from those people, but most people are losing within that 2 to 5 pounds a month. Um,
It's
because it's
it's hard.
average, it's normal.
Yeah. I know that the people who comment on my videos, it's going to be a selective people who are like resonating with what I'm saying.
Right,
So
yeah.
it's not like a representative sample of the population, but I know that there are so many people who are losing, you know, a couple pounds a month. And that's a good month for them. And that's a good month for me, losing a couple pounds a month. And it adds up. It adds up. I've lost over 40 pounds.
Well,
Like
that's what I have to remind myself. It adds up.
it adds up. I mean, who cares if I would have lost the 40 pounds 6 months ago versus now? Like, who cares?
Right.
There's
You
nothing,
got there.
there's nothing I couldn't do because I was carrying around those pounds until now versus six. Yeah, I got there. So, but and like I said, the devil and the angel. The idea that we're slow losers, like we didn't come up with that ourselves. Like we're surrounded by this whole like faster's better and fast weight loss and dramatic and yeah, and I get comments too. Like the one I remember the most is someone said, you know, if it took you, this was several months ago, so it was something like, if it took you 48 weeks to lose 30 pounds, you've been wasting your money on GLP-1s.
I
Um,
saw that.
and I just was like, you know, um, I'm not going to argue with you on YouTube about it, but it's like,
Right.
uh, if I hadn't done that, I would weigh more than my starting weight right now. So,
Absolutely.
so how is it a waste? Yeah. The idea, like the definition of slow is that's what's wrong.
Would say to that person, when is the last time you lost 34 pounds? For some
Yeah.
people, it's a struggle to get to that. It's a struggle to get to 40. I would say a lot of people, and especially still enjoying, being able to eat food and still having, having energy to do things. I think that that's a win.
That's another thing.
All right, so let me ask you, for the woman who might feel discouraged right now, any woman, but we kind of cater to our age group, right? The 50
Yeah.
plus, but this could be for any woman. Any woman out there that's feeling discouraged about perimenopause, menopause, about just her health overall, not feeling her best. What could you say, what can you say to her, to that woman, to just kind of give her some hope, to help her to keep going?
Oh, can I recommend a book?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
great.
That book, The New Menopause by Mary Claire Haver.
So yes, it's Dr. Mary Claire Haver.
There we go. Yeah. That book changed it sounds very dramatic, but that book changed my life because it validated, I found it a few years ago and it validated that all the stuff, all these health changes I'd been having weren't all in my head and weren't just a normal part of getting older. And
Yeah,
so I was able to do something about it. I was able to talk to my doctor about it, knowing the right questions to ask, because you don't know what you don't know.
exactly.
And then when I knew the right questions to ask, that's when I started hearing things like, oh, yeah, that's really common for women with menopause. And it's just like, thanks for the warning.
So what helped you? What did your doctor prescribe or do or say to
Um,
help with menopause?
she referred me to a gynecologist, and I started hormone replacement therapy a few years ago. And it doesn't help with weight loss. So that wasn't something that helped, but it did help with joint pain. And it was really hard for me to stay active and to lift weights. And I'd injured myself lifting weights because the like lack of estrogen makes your joints really prone to getting hurt or being just in pain.
Mhm.
And I didn't know that. I apparently I knew nothing about I knew nothing about menopause. So that helped me be able to be more active. And so then I felt so much better. And that's another reason why I think I can look at my before pictures and think, oh, I look good. Because I knew like I was exercising and I was eating healthy food and I was on like I think all my before pictures are from the few months before I started GLP-1. So I was on hormone replacement therapy and I felt so much better. Even though I
Okay.
did
Yeah.
feel kind of tired and puffy because I did still have inflammation and my metabolism was all jacked up. So maybe not. But I
So
felt
that
better than before
HRT,
the hormones.
so the HRT, the hormone th replacement therapy, you felt better. You noticed a difference.
I definitely noticed a difference. And then the stress that Dr. Haver puts on strength training, on how important that is. I'd always done some kind of exercise, but I really made sure after I read that to not neglect it in favor of something else. Because I would go through phases where I'd be like, I'm in a big, you know, um, I'm trying to think. I haven't run in forever, so I can't say running phase, but I'm in a big this phase. And so I would back off of weight training for a while because I would be into something else. And I learned like, no, I have to keep doing that. I have to keep that up. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. So let's play another
Okay.
little game, and then we're going to talk about your YouTube channel,
Okay.
and then we're out of here. So I
Okay.
just want to do a word association game with you. And you seem like a deep thinker, but I don't want you to think so deeply. I want you to
Okay.
tell me the first word that comes to your mind when
Okay.
say this word. So are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So GLP-1s.
Lifesaver.
Oh, good word. Gym.
Sweaty.
Compounds.
Um, sorry. The A picture of a compound like an institution popped into my head. And I know that's not what you meant,
No.
but that has to do with some of my husband's work that we were just a couple hours ago talking about.
I love that. Now, when you think about a compound related to GLP-1, what do you think?
Oh, um, I think accessibility.
Accessibility. Okay,
Yeah,
good. What about strength training?
necessary,
Cardio.
fun. Ooh, I can't believe I
Ooh,
said that.
ooh. Menopause.
Dry.
Too funny. Oh my goodness. Okay, we gotta fix that though. You can fix that. Family.
Oh, love,
Love. Future.
bright.
Right. I love that. And YouTube.
Oh, fun.
Fun. So let's kind of segue into your channel because
Yeah.
we just want to know what made you start your YouTube channel and what can we see over on your YouTube channel. But
Yeah.
yeah, tell us about that, your journey to YouTube.
Um, it was pretty spontaneous. I had a YouTube channel that I didn't really post on. I had posted some little like videos that had nothing to do with me or my health journey or GLP-1s or anything. So it was there, but I never really thought about it. And then spontaneously, the day after my first GLP-1 shot, I was feeling so alone. I was like, I know there have to be other women out there who are going through this, but I don't know where they are. And so maybe if I tell my story on YouTube, someone will find me and I can have a GLP-1 friend. Like that's literally my thought process.
I love it.
Like I'll make a friend. So I just sat down. I literally just went in my office. I opened my laptop and I just talked into the laptop. And I don't know, do you have older videos on your channel that if you see them, you cringe a little bit?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So it's like the lighting's bad, the audio's bad. I didn't plan it at all. I didn't know what I was doing. I just sat down and I just like told my story and said like, and I just took my first shot yesterday and, we'll see what happens. And so that's how it started. And I just decided I'm going to document every week and see what happens. And I found your channel and a bunch of other people's channels. And so I started to make my GLP-1 friends.
Yay. I
And
love it.
yeah, and so it just started to grow and it really grew more than I ever thought it would grow.
Well,
Like,
now you have close to 10,000 friends. So we
I
got to go over
think,
there. If you're not subscribed to Dr. Bobby's channel, you have to subscribe and, go over there. And she is educating us about GLP-1s. And I just love your editing style too. It reminds me of me. It's so teachery.
is it?
It is. And that's how I kind of started off with like I love a good meme and a way to I just think bringing, what you're trying to say to life is
I
so
try to make it
important.
fun.
It is fun. It's fun and it's cute.
For me too. Like for me, when I'm editing it, it's fun. I'm like, oh, what can I put there? That's kind of,
Yeah, I
quirky
love
or
it.
yeah,
I
that'll
love
that'll
it.
that'll
It was
entertain
just
people.
yeah, it's just so teacher like.
Oh, that's interesting because I always thought I would like teaching, but yeah, I only did a little bit in grad school and it was a whole different. It was, yeah.
Well, that's kind of what you're doing, though. I mean, if you think about it,
That's
that's kind of
true.
what you're doing with the GLP-1. You're educating
Yeah.
people at the same time, giving your, experience. And we realize we're not doctors at all with medical doctors, but we're offering some research and advice that we have learned and gotten over the years. And I don't know,
And in
I've been
telling our
taking this for,
stories,
yeah.
yeah,
This
yeah,
is one thing too. I always say some things you have to just experience to be able to relate to it. And this is, I feel like it's one of those things. Like,
yeah,
you can tell people, what you're feeling, what you're dealing with, the struggles of or challenges you might be having or not. But they
yeah,
really have to take it to experience it. This is why this community is so great and so unique because we have a unique experience. I always call us pioneers in this
yeah,
GLP-1 journey and with this
yeah,
GLP-1 experience. So, we're some of the first people out here that will be able to tell their story with the GLP-1 and it just be like, it can go on and on and on, right? Years from
yeah.
now, somebody can watch, what was happening with Downsizing Diva and Dr. Bobbi.
Hmm.
So
Back
I
in the
love that.
day.
Yeah. So you also have a newsletter, I know. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I send out every 2 weeks an email newsletter. And there's some things I don't want to put on YouTube because they're personal, but I'll send it in an email to people who've signed up,
Yeah.
who've shown, the willingness to hear my personal stuff.
I love that.
So
And how
every two
often do
weeks
you
I
send
send
it
out
out? Oh,
a
okay, every two
newsletter,
weeks.
and yeah, it's like just it's not always crazy personal, but it's just like any news that didn't make it into a video or that I couldn't fit into a video or that I didn't want to put into a video. Yeah. So
I love that. Now, do you see yourself? I don't think I asked you this. Do you see yourself getting off of GLP-1?
no, I don't. And
You
I
don't.
didn't know that when I started.
Okay, okay.
It was once I had been on it for a while that I realized that I had had food noise and then it was gone. That I
Me
was
too.
like, I can't ever go off this because
Yes.
I didn't know how hard I was working, how much energy I took every day to manage my food intake and manage the food noise.
Well,
Like it
mine was
was,
the inflammation of it all and just the
yeah,
A1C. It's like, how am I going to manage this without the medication? Especially that inflammation.
yeah,
That's just, it's like a gift, right? It's
I
like
know.
once you don't have it, you just don't want to ever have it back again. And
Yeah,
so,
exactly. I have
well,
a,
and the food noise is compatible, I think, too, to that feeling of not ever wanting to get that back again.
yeah, yeah. I just don't want, yeah. Also, because this is what it took for me to be able to lose weight after menopause, I'm afraid that if I went off of it, I would start to gain weight the way that I was gaining weight before I started it.
Sure.
Because
Yeah.
no matter what I did in terms of eating right and exercising, my weight just kept creeping up. And
So,
yeah,
do you think you have the disease of obesity or overweight, or do you think that it was brought on by hormonal changes?
I think that menopause gave me the disease of obesity.
Ooh,
I don't know if
okay.
that's a thing, but I feel like that is what matches with my reality.
I can see how it can set up the conditions in your body to make you
Yeah,
susceptible to having all the things that somebody, in an obese body has. So,
yeah.
yeah,
And I
we have to
became
find it.
obese.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
And you were classified as obese.
yeah, yeah.
Wow. Okay,
And
so
it
that's
was all
interesting.
those hormonal changes. And I felt that way and at first, and I was like, that can't happen. But all kinds of things cause diseases. Like smoking can
Sure.
cause a disease, or, it's like, yeah.
Yeah. And
So
I don't think a lot of times we have looked at it like that, but that's a great perspective and way to put it.
yeah, yeah. That's what meshes with my experience. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, is there anything you would do differently on your journey if you could start over?
You know, I think I would have started on tirzepatide if I'd done more research. Um, and I don't want to diss semaglutide because it did work for me. And my average weight loss, when I look at those few months and my tirzepatide was the same. So it's not like I lost weight slower on it, but everything I had to do for the constipation was a little daunting, and I don't like thinking of having to do that for the rest of my life.
Yeah, I can
Yeah,
see
so that's the
that.
only thing I can think. But if someone's out there and taking semaglutide and doesn't have access to tirzepatide, that's why I hesitate to say it,
Yeah.
because semaglutide was also a life-saving medication for me. And if that's the only one I would take, I would happily take it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's a great, that's a great reflection.
Yeah.
That makes sense too. So let me ask you one last question.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, so how did your friends and family, because you said you had family taking
Yeah.
GLP-1s, and how
Yeah.
did, what about friends? Have you felt like people didn't embrace you? Do you tell people you're taking a GLP-1? Is it something you keep to yourself? How do you deal with that whole part of it?
I'm really open about it. And m- almost as often as not, when I'm open about it, people are like, oh, I'm taking one too.
Really?
Yeah. It's so
Wow.
funny. Or they say, "Oh, I've been thinking about it," or "Oh, my husband's on it," or yeah.
Do you refer people to your channel, or have you not said anything to friends and family about that?
I don't tell anyone about my channel.
What?
My husband knows, but I was like, "Don't watch my videos," and he's like, "Okay." And I kind of trust him because he was raised Catholic and he's got a really strong conscience. So I think he doesn't watch. I think he
Too
doesn't watch.
funny.
I don't tell, no, I don't tell anyone.
So we
It's
have a
so
lot in common
weird.
because I have a lot, it's a lot of people who don't know. Like, how you have
Really?
like an inner circle, like a close group of girlfriends, and then you have, that outlier circle, and then you
Yeah.
might have like people you see every now and again, and if you see them out, you talk and catch up and all that. So yeah, only my inner circle of friends know about that I'm on YouTube. Most people
Yeah.
do not know.
It's not nobody, but it's almost almost everybody does not know, and I just
Yeah.
don't talk about it. And
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. I don't want people I know watching my
Well, and the
channel.
funny thing is, the people that know you probably won't even watch, right? Those are the people that won't watch because they
And
see you every day or talk to you all the time or know
yeah.
your story, your history. They're not all that interested. The people that
Yeah.
I've told, the only ones that really watch are the ones that were thinking about it or are taking it now.
Hmm.
Otherwise, they don't watch. Like my dad, he doesn't watch.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
he knows I'm on here, but he doesn't watch. So yeah, I,
My
I think,
daughters know and they don't watch.
yeah.
Not because I told them not to, but they just don't care. And it's like, I get
I
it. Yeah, I wouldn't care
Yeah.
either. They're in their 20s
Especially
and
if you're not
30s.
on the journey, it's like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I'm like,
yeah.
it's about menopause and GLP-1 weight loss. They're like, okay, great, mom. Like they don't care.
Well, that's okay, but that's okay. We're going to subscribe to your channel, so we're going to be over there
Thank
watching
you.
you. Tell us your channel name as well, and I'm going to put it in the description of this
Yeah,
video.
it's at and then DR for doctor and then Bobby, Bobbi, and then B because that's my last initial. So Dr. Bobby B.
So tell everybody what kind of doctor you are, because people might think that you're a medical
Yeah,
doctor.
I'm a psychologist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Has that helped you on your journey to be a psychologist, do you
A
think?
little bit. And even a couple of my episodes, I'll talk about some, I was like, these are the cognitive behavioral things that I do on myself.
Now, let me tell you, there was one video that you had up, and I'm telling you, you had this quote, and I'm going to quote it. I'm
Okay.
glad I asked that because I wanted to. Thought this was such a good quote. I said, this
Sorry
is
it
the
got dark
therapist
here.
in her. No, you're fine. You're
Okay.
fine. So you said you were coming at this from like how a therapist would approach the GLP-1s. I forget the title of it's like one of your latest videos. And you
Okay.
said, try focusing on your behavior, not on the results of your behavior. I
Yeah.
love that quote, and it's so true. If you focus on the behavior, eventually the results will come. But I think a lot of times we do the opposite, right? We
Yes.
focus on, the result and not so much on what we're doing and just kind of do what you need to do. And
Yeah.
eventually you will see progress.
Yeah,
Progress, not perfection, right? Not trying to get
right.
everything so perfect.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I
I'm
love that.
glad you liked that.
Yeah, I said
It
that's such a doctor quote.
Well, it's funny. My husband also struggles with his weight. And so sometimes in the morning we wake up and we have this running joke that we're like, we went to the gym last night. Why are we not thin? And that's
Now,
focusing on the result.
does he want to take a GLP-1? Is he taking a
You know,
GLP-1?
he is, and I never talk about it on my channel because I just feel like, that's his private business.
Sure, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
well, good. So you have at least you have him in common now
Yeah.
too, like as a support. So I love that. I
Yeah.
love when the husbands, a lot of the content creators that have husbands and when they're, talking about their husbands and that they could do this together, lose the weight. I just love that. Or they're
Yeah.
supportive. You don't even have to be on a weight loss journey, but I just love
He
the support of it
he
all.
totally gets it. Yeah, it's
He
nice.
gets it. Okay,
Yeah.
I love that. Well, Dr. Bobby, this has been awesome.
Thank you
I
so
am
much for having
so
me, Dee Dee. I love
yeah,
you.
I love you too. And I'm so glad we got to talk. We'll have to talk about menopause again, just a
Oh my
topic of
God.
its own. Thank you for being so honest and sharing your journey. And
Sure.
I'm sure the Diva family is going to go and subscribe to your channel. And if this conversation has helped you guys, I want you to drop a comment in the comment section, or should I say, is it the comment section? I get so confused.
I think so. Yeah.
I'm thinking I'm on a live stream. But what part of your journey are you in right now? And if you're in menopause, did we say anything that helped you? Can you tell us the name of that book again with Dr. Mary Claire Haver? We're going to go and check
Uh,
that book out.
the new menopause.
The new menopause.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we helped you. Leave us a comment and let us know. And if you needed this as a reminder today, share this interview with somebody that it could help as well. So, again, Dr. Bobby, it was great to
Thank
have
you
you
so
on.
much
I'm sure
again.
we'll be in touch in the
Yeah.
future. And
Yeah.
I can't wait to go celebrate that 10K with you because it's coming soon.
I think it is. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Is it? It's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Well deserved. Well deserved. So
Thank
we
you.
will see you on your channel. Have a great evening and thank you for spending some time with me. I appreciated it.
Thank you
Learned a
so
lot.
much. Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Don't hang up yet.
That was so
Yay!
fun.
That was so cool.